I was promised a mic stand, so we'll see how this goes. Guys, I recently went to Phoenix, Arizona, and I hooked up with a girl. And afterwards, I felt a bunch of sharp, needle-like pains in my genital region. So I guess what my dad said about Arizona women is true. Yeah, my dad used to say, the women over there are fine, just don't go fuck that cactus, Davy. Speaking of my dad, he's getting a little up there in age, and I think he's getting my new apartment mixed up with his gastroenterologist, because he keeps mailing me a box of human shit. Speaking of my father, he was a high school baseball coach for most of my life. And I never played, but he always tried to get me involved with the team activities, right? Like one day, he made me batting practice. I met one of my best friends in high school. His name is Islam. And believe it or not, he's Arabic. And he's been teaching me some basic Arabic phrases, and I found that the two most common are inshallah and mashallah. Can anybody vouch for me in this? Yeah, great. So you'd say, so inshallah translates to God willing. So you'd use it to signify like good luck. You'd say things like inshallah, your plane will land safely, right? Mashallah translates to God has willed it. So you would use it to signify surprise or great joy at a past event. Like mashallah, we hit the second tower. Too soon? Do I need to do my Gilbert Gottfried impression for that? Comedy fans know that joke. Yeah. I was surprisingly the last person in my high school friend group to lose his virginity. Well, I had one friend who he would always brag about hooking up with this one girl. He'd always be like, she had the biggest knockers. She was so freaky. Hell, she even cooks for me after. Now, of course, at the time I thought that would make me feel bad. But at least now, I can look back at that and say, at least I wasn't that much of a mama's boy. I did eventually start seeing guys, I'm fun. I used to see this Chinese girl back in high school. She was great. She was really nice. I mean, she was like the total package at dim sum. Emma, I told you that would get a laugh. People know dim sum. One of my first sexual experiences was with a guy named Jordan. That's not funny. They haven't gotten to the punchline yet. But Jordan was nice, but after we finished this one time, we were shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. We were sitting in his front seat, and in this particular summer, the only thing he was listening to was this certain Billie Eilish album. I can't remember which one because I'm not a faggot. But, so I look at Jordan and I go, hey, can I add a song to cue, just switch things up? Now let me tell you all this. Jordan was, and to my knowledge still is, an African-American male. He didn't have that good of a singing voice. That's a deep cut. He's the most famous celebrity of all time besides Allah. Praise be upon him. So anyway, I look at Jordan, who, as previously mentioned, is an African-American male. I say, hey, can I cue I'm that type of, and you can figure out what word I'm not going to say, by The Far Side. To which Jordan looks at me and he goes, oh, I hate that word. That word just feels like it just perpetrates negative stereotypes about the black community. I feel like it's nothing more than a slur and it's just derogatory. Now, listen how quiet it is. Perfectly reasonable thing for me to say. I'm not going to argue with that. It's a perfectly fine thing to think. I just had to point out that 20 minutes earlier, we're in the backseat of his car, and he was sucking my dick, going, "You like that, faggot boy?" And I don't know, that just felt... It felt a little derogatory then, so I don't know. Guys, I recently learned that Jersey Mike's slogan is a sub above, so I thought they only hired power bottoms. Here's another thing I recently learned. I am turned on by physical violence. Figuring that out was a real slap in the face. No, but hear me out. Since figuring this out, I decided to cheat the system, right? So I'm seeing a Hispanic girl, right? And anytime we're going out to eat, before we go out anywhere, she asks me, "Davy, how do I look?" I say, "Like you're about to shoot Selena." I usually leave the house with 2.5 black eyes after that. That gets the job done. Spend a lot of time on Google Maps. And I figured out that two sides of the globe that are on opposite sides of each other, they're called antipodes, okay? And Austin's antipode is somewhere in Thailand. Which makes sense, because over there, instead of Ladybird Lake, they have Ladyboy Lake. I don't skip that one. I was thinking about this recently, y'all. Every hobby, or let me say every profession, is governed by an organization with a 3-letter acronym. Think about it. If you're really good at baseball, where do you go? MLB, right. If you're good with viruses, or who's in charge of disease prevention in the United States?
CDC.
That's right. And if you're good, like really good at killing kids, where do they send you?
Israel.
That's right, the IDF. When I was a kid, I used to think that since Notre Dame's mascot is the Fighting Irish, they won most of their games by blowing up the opposing team's bus. I also think that the guy who created italics just had scoliosis and wanted to show everyone what reading was like for him. All right, I'm gonna get out of this last joke. Sir, did you know that human piss does not clump in cat litter? Well, here's the thing. Human piss and cat litter will just kind of sink at the bottom, sitting there, and it'll become a pretty pivotal part of divorce proceedings. I've been Davy Adkins. Thank y'all so much.